OC Financial Media presents, in association with CHL Mortgage, bringing you the top business experts in Southern California, from LA to Orange County. Your host, Dino Katsiametis. It's about your real estate. It's about your money. From your estate to real estate, it's Money Matters with Dino.
Welcome to Money Matters with Dino, the most important hour of radio for Southern Californians every week. My name is Dino Katsiametis, and I want to thank you for joining today's conversation. The purpose of this show is to educate you regarding your money. In this crazy up and down market, you must understand and adopt the mind of an entrepreneur to survive. You must anticipate what's coming next and understand what it means for your bank account. You must become financially secure. That's why I'm here, to make sure you're making the best financial decisions for you and your family. How do I do this? I seek out top professionals in the marketplace, and I have them share their years of experience and knowledge with you. Here's something I love to say, and you're going to hear me say it a lot. Wealth is created by taking informed risks, and we're going to teach you how. Now, if you're new to Money Matters with Dino, every week we pick a topic that's critical to making money in today's business climate. Then we bring in our guests for our discussion with our panel of experts to get their take on our topic and what it means for you. I hope you enjoy the show.
All right. I want to just say a couple quick things and say that typically on our show on Money Matters, it's not an infomercial type show. We don't have a ton of what they call call to actions, trying to get you to call now to buy this or buy that. But today I am going to push a little bit on this call to action to raise some money for the Jessie Rees Foundation. And the website is negu.org. And I'd really appreciate it, especially after you hear the story, if you can take action on that. So before I introduce Erik Rees, the way that I met Erik was at Saddleback Church. I go to a men's group there every Thursday morning at 6:30. And if you can imagine, we're in this big, church room with about 500 men at 6:30 a.m. And you got men of all sorts of caliber, from construction to suit and tie to everything in between. And all you heard at 6:30 in the morning was everybody crying. It was unbelievable when I heard this story. So Erik Rees is the father of Jessie. And Erik, please just fill us in. Tell us your story.
Well, thank you for having me, Dino. I greatly appreciate being here. Well, on March 3rd, 2011, my wife, Stacy, and I were told that our 11-year-old daughter, Jessie, had cancer. And, they had, she had a brain tumor, and they had told us we had about 12 to 18 months to make the best we could with her and enjoy life with her. And so because there was no cure for her disease, we quickly tried to find some clinical trials around the United States. We even looked into France and other places in Germany and stuff, just trying to find something, because being told that your child's going to die and there's nothing they can do for you was not acceptable to me, being dad. Sure. Dads are supposed to make boo-boos go away, and I needed to try to do something, anything I could. But, doors closed very quickly. Because the tumor was in her brain stem. They couldn't operate, they couldn't do anything, and it was just a matter of time that we had to spend with Jess. And so she went into what was considered a clinical trial, which started with 30 rounds of radiation followed by daily chemotherapy.
Now, and real quick, you said daily chemotherapy. What's typical for let's say an adult that comes down with cancer?
Well, when it usually when it comes to cancer, and if there's a tumor, and if it's someplace that they can actually go in and operate, they'll go in and try to take the tumor out, and then they'll do radiation around the cells that are maybe partially sick, partially healthy, and just try to get rid of all the disease in the body. When they can't go operate, the only tools they have is radiation and medicine. And so Jessie had radiation, which was very difficult to watch her be strapped to a very large machine where she could not be moved. She was bolted down, and it was she didn't enjoy it whatsoever. And then chemotherapy was just the medicine that was going to hopefully try to combat. And our whole goal was to try to keep the tumor from growing. So 2 weeks into her treatment, we decided to go to Children's Hospital of Orange County, right here at home. She didn't want to travel to other parts of the United States, and so we said, okay, wherever you want to go. And 2 weeks into it, we were leaving the parking garage because she was outpatient. Lots of children are inpatient. And she asked my wife and I, she was in the back seat, and she said, Dad, when do all the other children go home? And I remember pointing to the third floor of Children's Hospital Orange County, which is the oncology floor, and I said, honey, there's lots of children that have different types of cancers than you do, leukemia and other neuroblastomas and different types of things, and they spend days, months, and sometimes years in the hospital. And the next words out of her mouth have literally changed the tapestry of my life, because she just said, how can we help them? Those 5 little words have truly changed our lives. And I remember looking at my wife. She's in the passenger seat. She's fanning her eyes because in the back our daughter is fighting this devastating disease. And for some reason, I wish I could say it was great parenting or something, but it wasn't. She had this burden that her peers couldn't leave the hospital. So we came home, we got her on the couch. My wife and I would always huddle up in our office to just try to talk about the daily matters and stuff. And when we came out, she had moved from the couch to the island in our kitchen. And she had taken some brown paper bags and she was putting stickers on them and writing, "Get well soon." And I came out of the office going, "What are you doing, Jess?" And she said, "Well, I'm putting together some bags. I'm going to put my Beanie Babies in them and I want to take them to the kids." And I remember going, "You're really serious about this?" And she said, "Yeah, I really want to help the children." And I'm like, okay. I didn't want to.
And how old was she?
She was 11.
11, okay.
And so I said, let's talk to the nurses tomorrow to make sure we can do this, because I just didn't want her to get, disappointed or something. And so we got what the hospital would allow. And so that weekend we sat around as a family, and Jessie's middle name was Joy. And so Joy and Jars just went perfectly together, and she loved it. She thought it was really cool. And so we launched this thing called Joy Jars. And basically a Joy Jar is a 64-ounce jar that's stuffed full of toys and activities and games for children in the hospital. And so during Jessie's 10-month and 2-day fight, she moved to heaven on January 5th, 2012. But during her, she actually personally made over 3,000 of them in the Joy Factory. At that time, it was our garage.
Wow.
And every Monday, her and I would go in there, and it was just really special. I always look back and think about those times that I had with my daughter. And so after Jessie moved to heaven, we sat around as a family and just said, what should we do? And Jessie's little motto was NEGU, N-E-G-U, and it just stands for Never Ever Give Up. And she'd always tell her kids to never ever give up. And she was using Facebook to share about her life, and people were following her story. And my oldest daughter, Shea, said, "Dad, Jessie's message was never ever give up. We can't give up." I'm like, yep, that's true. So we decided to press on. And to date, the Jessie Rees Foundation, we've been able to reach over 72,000 children. We have partnerships now with 260 children's hospitals and 18 countries. We've been able to reach kids fighting cancer with Jessie's Joy Jars and Never Ever Give Up message. And every jar, it costs us $20 to stuff and ship to a child fighting cancer. And so if anybody wants to go online to negu.org and donate $20, that money, 100% of it goes to a child fighting cancer.
That's awesome. I told you that story was amazing. Well, we're going to break here in just 1 second for commercials, but negu.org, negu.org.
In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of me or any of our guests here today, you can call us at 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616, or you can go to our website, moneymatterswithdino.com, and we'll have all the information right there. We'll be right back after the break.
"50 years ago, you didn't have any worries. You danced the night away. But the music slowed down. And now you have financial worries and woes you never thought you would be faced with in retirement.
I'm so afraid that my husband and I aren't going to be able to afford to live in our home.
Thousands of people have chosen to put a spring in their financial step by taking advantage of a government-insured reverse mortgage loan that turns the equity in your home into tax-free cash. You can use the cash for whatever you want. Pay off medical bills, credit cards, travel, and start to enjoy your retirement. Best of all, you still own your own home. Call now. Find out how you can qualify for a life without monthly mortgage payments. Call now, and we will send you a free DVD that will explain if a reverse mortgage is right for you. Call the number on your screen right now. No obligation, just education.
Mortgage professionals, are you looking for a company that values you as a loan officer? One that can provide you with the tools you need to grow your business at your pace? Then look no further than CHL Mortgage. CHL Mortgage provides you with a full range of residential loan products and services. You'll be backed by an exceptionally trained team of professionals that can take your clients as seriously as you do. Your clients will be treated with dedicated service, personal integrity, and exceptional professionalism. You'll be able to guide them in the right loan with competitive rates and keep them on the road to achieving life's goals. To get started on advancing your career, call Dino with CHL Mortgage at 949-720-1616. That's CHL Mortgage, 949-720-1616.
Thanks for hanging with us. This is Dino Katsiametis, and I'm your host of Money Matters with Dino. We are on every weekend afternoon, and our phone number is 949-720-1616. If you miss any part of this show, you can always go on to our website, which is moneymatterswithdino.com, and we have all our past shows over there. This particular show, once again, is what I'm considering our best show of the year, and it's because we are not talking about how you can save money or make money or do certain things to save money on taxes, how to keep the government off your back, or any of the other stuff we talk about on a regular basis. We're actually talking about giving money, and I'm a firm believer in giving money because it betters your soul. And today we have Erik Rees from negu.org, NEGU.org, which is the Jessie Rees Foundation. His daughter Jessie, unfortunately passed with a cancer a few years back, and he's here to share that story and tell us a little bit about the foundation. So, Erik, welcome back to the show.
Thank you again for having me. It's an honor to be here.
I know you told the story already, but what were the symptoms? How did all this begin? What happened that even got you guys thinking, what's going on?
Well, Jess was actually a junior Olympic swimmer. So she's very, very accomplished in swimming. And we were at a meet, and I was walking behind her. And as she was walking, her head was tilted to the left about 30 degrees. But there was a wall there. And I'm like, gosh, wonder what she's looking at. And I said, Jess, what are you doing? And she said, I'm just walking. And so it started by her having this lazy eye. And so we took her to her pediatrician, we took her to see her eye doctor, and everybody said, you know what, why don't you just get an MRI just to rule out the bad stuff? And we were thinking, okay, no problem, let's just get an MRI. But then on March 3rd, we were told that the MRI showed a large-sized tumor in her brainstem, which was basically pressing on one of her optical nerves, which was causing the eye to not be able to focus.
Got it. I have a good friend right now where his wife has just been diagnosed with cancer, and I'm going through this with him. And there's a piece there that's just really eating at me, and it's the medical side of it. And he told me about it. He said, we have an appointment next week with a specialist. And all I could do was think about, what about tomorrow? Why next week?
And he's like, they say next week is really good. Usually it takes a lot longer. I know, as you said earlier, as a father, it had to have been eating at you for everything. How did that whole medical situation happen? Was it immediate attention from everybody? Was it let's find a specialist and another week goes by? What was going on then?
Well, we knew that based off of the type of cancer Jess had, that if we didn't jump on some sort of palliative care, which was basically the radiation chemotherapy, we could have weeks. Because as soon as the tumor grows, basically it shuts down the entire body because it's in the brainstem. That's the central highway. It knocks everything down from the neck down. And so we didn't want her to have to, face that quickly. So we jumped into this clinical trial to get her some sort of palliative care. And then while she was doing that, we were looking at other things. We were looking at all kinds of random medicines and trying to think of different things. But at the end of the day, we knew that there was a train coming and she had a seat on it. Thankfully, our belief is that train is headed to heaven. And so I'll see my daughter again. But until that time, we just focused on, making the best out of that day. Jess used to always tell me, Daddy, I feel lonely and limited. And the loneliness came because over time, even though we were part of this massive church, this big swim team, this school, people just stopped wondering what to do. And the limitations came because of what the disease was doing to her body. I mean, she went from this fit athlete to somebody that, I basically had to give piggybacks to get upstairs. And so, everything we were doing is trying to help her not feel lonely and limited. And now that's one of the biggest things we do as our foundation is to come alongside these children, because clinically speaking, we don't save lives, but we can help in what's called the resilience factor. It's clinically proven that if a child receives ongoing encouragement, love, and hope from outside resources, their ability to their resiliency rate, their ability to stay positive is higher. And so, someday I hope to cure people, to put us out of business, because our focus is all about care.
Right.
We don't focus on finding a cure. I hope someday all those people do it, but Jessie wanted to care for kids now, and that's what we do. And we hope, again, someday that they put us out of business. But in the meantime, 50 children today will be told they have cancer. Every 4 hours, a child dies from cancer. Wow. There's over 500,000 children fighting cancer today globally. And so it's a devastating disease that needs help. And so we try to bring support and encouragement to these families because, like Lynn was saying, when your family's in chaos, no matter if it's a special needs child or a child fighting cancer, you start to reach out and try to get help. And sometimes there's just not a lot of help there. It's not coordinated help. And so one of the things we have for families is what we call the Never Ever Give Up Family Network. And we basically can pull together over 1,000 different organizations across the United States that help families. Because when we were told Jess had cancer, we couldn't really find a lot of help because we were just in the moment.
Sure.
And so at least now we've been able to bring alongside this place where you can go in and based off the website, you can search all different types of help you need, financially, emotionally, all different types of things. So I don't want to have to do it all. I just want to convene it all to help people never, ever give up.
So once again, earlier in the show, I said we're not an infomercial type of show, but I am going to ask you right now to either log online to negu.org, that's negu.org, and just hit the donation button, pull out your credit card or bank card, and just make that donation. $20 helps a child with a smile on their face. And earlier you said that Jessie went and filled up the jar with Beanie Babies, I think you said, right? What's in those jars now?
Well, the jar, again, it's filled with all types of new toys. The hospital rules are nothing sharp, nothing that can choke, no lotions, no food, those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And so it's all filled with age-appropriate toys and activities. We send jars to 3-month-olds to 16-year-olds, and we have boy and girl. So we actually have 5 different types of jars we're always making. We're in the midst right now of making 10,000 holiday joy jars because there's lots and lots of children that will spend the holidays sitting in their hospital room. We also do what's called the Never Ever Give Up Makeover Kit, and we send bedding and posters and all kinds of other fun things to kids in the hospitals to turn their room into a positive
awesome.
reinforcement.
That's great. I love that idea.
Yeah, and so it's a great opportunity to help. And if there's corporations listening to this and watching, if you go to negu.org/giveback, you can learn about all kinds of ways to get involved. We actually have corporations that stuff joy jars for us. We have corporations that just donate to joy jars. Someday I hope we will partner with like a large toy manufacturer to help us continue to have great toys in there, because Jessie always had 3 rules. No air, meaning that you stuff the jar where you have to force the lid on.
Good for her.
No air, no cheesy, meaning there are no cheesy toys. And then ship it fast. And so we always do that. And again, we make about 400 to 500 a day at the Joy Factory.
And obviously you've grown considerably from just Orange County. Are these all over the world now?
Dino, we have, and again, it's been crazy, but yeah, we started here in Orange County, and now we've reached over 75,000 children in all 50 states, 18 countries. We have partnerships with 260 children's hospitals, 175 Ronald McDonald houses, and again, we just want to come alongside children that are in these devastating situations and give them hope, give them encouragement to never ever give up.
That's awesome. And guys, here we go again. It's coming to the end of the show, but before we go, I'm going to save the last minute to just once again ask you to please log on to negu.org, and pull out the credit card, pull out the bank card, pull out whatever it is you got that's got a little bit of value to it, and donate it. It's better to give to somebody else than keep for yourself. I promise you that it is, and I promise you that you will feel better about it. Erik, corporations are a big deal.
Yes.
Individuals are a big deal. $20 gets you a full jar for a child.
$20 sends a stuffed joy jar to a child fighting cancer.
So whether it's $20, I'm sure it could be $5 too, or $1,000 or $10,000. I hope if you're listening right now that you take the time to do this, and you contact Erik Rees at negu.com, the Jessie Rees Foundation. Really appreciate you listening to the show. I really appreciate you doing this today, and again tomorrow, and again next week, and again next year. Don't stop donating. Remember, the title of this show was, Is There Charity in Your Portfolio? It's not always about how much you can make or save. It should be more about how much you can give. That will go a long way to help somebody in need. Thank you for listening to the show. I really appreciate it. I want to thank my panel here today, Erik Rees from, again, negu.org, the Jessie Rees Foundation, and Lynn Diamond from SNAP Special Needs. I want to thank Phil once again for doing all the hard work that he always does. But most of all, I want to thank you for listening, and I want to thank you in advance for donating and making a difference today. We'll see you next week. And if you have any questions in between, call me direct at 949-720-1616. That's 949-720-1616. Or you can check us out online at Money Matters with Dino. Thank you. Have a great weekend.